Well, hello, you guys. It's Leah Applegarth, the geometry teacher, and today we're going to be doing Chapter 4, Section 6, talking about congruence in, drumroll please, right triangles. So in our previous section, we talked about isosceles and equilateral triangles. Now we're going to go to our special little buddy, right triangles. It's going to introduce our new theorem. It's called the Hypotenuse Leg Congruence theorem. So we're going to add that to our side, angle, and angle, side. We're going to add hypotenuse leg to that. If the hypotenuse and a leg of a right triangle are congruent to the hypotenuse and a leg of a second right triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So if I have a hypotenuse and leg that are congruent, I can say that my triangles are congruent, as long as we're talking about right triangles. Okay, so let's take a gander at that situation with this example. We have our ABD triangle. We are given that AC is perpendicular to BD. Let me get a pen, not a highlighter. Boop, 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 boop. And that AB is congruent to AD. So we have a, and just so that you guys remember, when we're talking right triangles, I don't know, my class has not talked about it, but it is assumed you have this information, but we will add it here. The side that is across from your 90-degree angle, and it's also the largest side of your triangle, is called the hypotenuse. The other two sides we call legs. So when we say hypotenuse leg, we mean one of the guys that runs into the right triangle, or right into the right angle, and the hypotenuse. All right, we start almost every, like 99% of our proofs with what we are given. So I'm going to take this little piece right here, put it right here. I know it's so cheating that I don't have to write it because I've just made a little copy of it. So I'm going to take what we are given and put it on our first line. All right, saying something is perpendicular is not necessarily saying it's a right triangle, so we've got to kind of walk through a little pathway. So we are going to say that angle BCA and angle DCA are right angles. That is the definition of perpendicular. A perpendicular line makes two right angles. And then we can say BCA is congruent to DCA because all right angles are congruent. And then we're of course going to say AC is congruent to itself by the reflexive property. And then we always end with what we're trying to prove, but let's just take a little gander here. So I have a leg, I have a hypotenuse, and I have the right angles. So ABC is congruent to ADC by hypotenuse. So we got the right angle, we got the hypotenuse, and a leg. So we are, let's take a little peek at this other scenario. Your classmate says there's not enough information here to determine if the two triangles below are congruent. Is your classmate correct? So we're going to take a little gander. We do have, I call them cuddle triangles. When triangles are all snuggled up right next to each other, they're going to have a congruent side. So we're going to say that JL is congruent to JL by the reflexive property. And then we're going to take some accounting here. Normally, if we were looking at the four that are the options, so these four were our previous options, but we are adding the hypotenuse leg. So to use this one, we first ask, do we have a right angle? Because we need a right angle in order to use hypotenuse leg. We absolutely do in this scenario. Now we ask ourselves, do we have the hypotenuse? That is the side across from the 90 degrees, and yes, we have that, though the hypotenuse is congruent. And then the last thing is a leg congruent, and because of the reflexive property, we can say yes, this leg is congruent. So we can say yes, well, these two are congruent. By the hypotenuse leg. So our little classmate is wrong, like Donkey Kong, because these are congruent. All right, so let's take a look at some more examples. Are the two triangles congruent by hypotenuse leg? If not, explain why not. These ones are a big no-no because there is no right angle. In order to use hypotenuse leg, you need a right angle, you need the hypotenuse, and the leg. So, oh, so sad. All right, B. B has, it's a cuddle. So we're got these little cuddles, so we can say it's reflexive. So let's take into account, does it have a right angle? We'll do our little check. Right angle, yes. Do we have the hypotenuse as congruent? Well, the side across from the 90-degree angle is the hypotenuse, and we have yes. And then do we have a leg of our triangle congruent? Yes. So we can say this is yes. Alrighty, you guys get to now shuffle off to the notes and practice, and that is 4.6 congruence in right angles. Thank you guys for hanging with me today.